This is a multi-part tutorial of the Emperor's New Groove speedrun. If you have not seen the previous parts, please click here to watch those first. So you think you're hot shit, huh? You learned the game, you grinded your times, you think you got your new groove? You ain't got shit until you use these advanced strategies to get your llama faster than ever.
Bring it on.
In all seriousness, these strategies are very difficult, so learn at your own pace. As the example run shows, you can get really good times without any of the strats I'm going to talk about. There's no pressure. With that out of the way, instead of going to the secret at the start, hug this section of the wall. Make sure you're running in place and not drifting. For the upwarps themselves, keyboard opposite key is the most consistent. Do an upwarp and you'll land on a tiny piece of the wall, then immediately upwarp again. Once you're up, walk around the wall, then jump forward and just roll to the exit like normal. Here it is again in full. Instead of building the statue, grab the charge and just grab the body with this exact angle. Remember to not move until the body is firmly on your butt or the rotation will screw up. Head back to this wall and have Cusco face the left. His hoof should line up with the grass here. Aim in look mode so that you aim for this texture on the bush. The body should then be thrown high enough where you can jump on the body. That's also why we angled it like this, because if it was too parallel to the wall, we couldn't jump on it. From the body, charge jump forward and jump kick to turn yourself into the corner. Use an extra jump when you land if you need to get more stability. If you can't reach the corner, the statue body was probably thrown too low. Compare how high it should be to an unoptimal setup. Use look to turn in place, then charge jump so you land here. Too far left will bonk on the statue and too far right will hit the water. Here's the skip from the top.
Let's have a look-see. Let's have a look-see. Llama coming through!
Also, when you're done with the bike brat, you can just charge jump into the lake to get sent across. Grab the charge on the log, then double back to this corner. Upwarp, then hold up left to land on the higher part. Jump up the cliffs until you get to this section. Careful to not go in too deep in the wall or you'll end up here and have to walk back out. Once you're here, upwarp again until you're stable at the very top of the cliffs. Now use regular jumps to navigate on top. Use curving motions to slightly get out, then back in. Once you turn the corner, you can do some charge jumps, but be careful. At about here, aim your camera at this corner. Do a neutral charge jump, then when the camera changes to show the guard area, hold left and mash action. You'll eventually perform a jump kick and get through to the other side. As you're kicking down, make sure you're holding right a little bit so you don't accidentally clip into the maze. Alright, from the beginning.
Whee! Oh yeah, I'm jumping. Out of my way!
Grab the statue and go behind the holder until the camera unlocks like this. Turn around and slowly inch until you can see this little texture on the holder. Throw the statue, then turn around and charge jump the first frame you can. You can do something called pause buffering to make this easier. Right when the statue is going to be on the pedestal, pause, then while holding forward and charge, press look followed by pause again. Make the look and pause close together so that if you press on the same frame, the game just won't advance. Keep pause buffering until you see dust on the statue. Once you do, hold jump, then press pause again. You should get a jump input through on the first possible frame. Note that this pause buffer only works on controller because the movement inputs won't get through on keyboard. Here's the skip at full speed. This upwarp is most reliable on keyboard in my opinion. Run into this corner and have your camera so that the spot on the cliff is touching the corner of your screen. You want to do a roll upwarp here. Hold forward, roll, and when you enter the braking animation, press jump and the camera button that turns it like this at the same time. For me, it's A, but it might be a different camera button for you. You should upwarp and land on this section where you can jump again to get on top. Here it is again at full speed. Now that you're on top, head to the door and perform angle storage by charging and looking on the same frame. You'll be pushed out of the boulder that normally blocks the door. If you get stuck behind the wrong side, there's an upwarp backup you can do to get out. This upwarp is similar to the one in Mountain 1, but slightly harder. When you're over here, head to the corner. For setting up the camera, start facing too far right, then slowly turn left until you're past this grass texture. You should see this corner. This is a very specific angle, so really pay attention to it. Once it's lined up, the inputs are the same. Hold forward, roll, hold jump and the camera button at the same time. Then jump again once you land. Here it is again at full speed. From here, just go across the gaps until you get to the pole jump spot.
Coming through.
Checkpoint.
Grab the first pot in a way where Kuzco faces the corner of the pot. Stand so that Kuzco is halfway off the edge. Inch to the left until his hoof is no further than here. Aim in look mode so that you're aiming slightly away from the wall's edge. The pot should land in a weird corner like that. Grab the second pot also so that Kuzco faces the corner, and throw it on top so they look very neatly stacked. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be in the same ballpark. Now upwarp to the pots and get on the corner closest to the door. Use look mode if you need to line yourself up. You're aiming to jump towards this spot because there's a high invisible wall we're trying to land on. Once you're set up, roll, jump, then do a jump kick and you should land on top. Get up the step and roll in the corner until you go through to the other side. If you get this weird thing where Kuzco jitters in the corner, just jump in the corner to fix that. Here it is again in full. Head towards the right door and run into the corner. Line yourself up like this, jump, then do an opposite key keyboard upwarp. Then jump again to get on top of the wall. Stand near the wall so that the edge of Kuzco's shadow is touching the ledge. His hoof should line up with this symbol on the wall. Aim your camera so that you aim for this corner of the door. Because of the precision of this trick, I have to mention that the camera likes to behave like a drunk driver and sway back and forth when you're not moving it. Makes it tricky to do anything accurate. So when I say aim for the corner, the camera should oscillate such that the middle of the health bar crosses the corner you're aiming for. Do a neutral charge jump, and with the correct setup, you should clip through the door. Once you're sure you clipped in, start curving to the right so you don't get pushed back out. Here it is again at full speed.
Let's have a look-see.
Instead of waiting for the guards, you can jump up and quickly charge jump into the door as the guards see you. As long as you skip the text before the transition, you should get through no problem. If you end up in the next room but the text is still on the screen, just charge and you'll touch the checkpoint. Instead of spitting at the leftmost bricks, get up on the middle brick that's closest to the throne door. Yzma is supposed to talk to you when you're on her floor, but if she's throwing a potion, it will wait until she's done. The idea is that we're trying to get to the door while she throws a potion. Pay attention to Yzma's animation. She'll always throw a potion after a specific amount of time passes, and always when her animation is here. The instant she starts throwing, jump up and charge into the door. You should get through without triggering the cutscene. If you jump too early, she won't throw a potion. If you get to the door too late, you will soft lock and have to F4 and redo the entire level, which is the only reason why this is such a difficult strat. Here it is again at full speed.
Let's have a look-see.
If you don't have charge, you can still do throne skip, but you'll have to do it a little bit differently. Jump up, roll in the door, jump over the trigger, and then karate kick backwards. Instead of solving the puzzles, grab some charge and backtrack to the start. Be careful around Pacha as that trigger you skipped at the beginning is still there. Line yourself up in a way that the camera slowly makes this part of the wall pattern disappear from your screen. This works best with opposite key method on keyboard, but the Upwarp is different in that instead of pressing down then jump, you want to press down and jump on the same frame. From here, you can charge across to the red idle platform. Here it is again at full speed.
Checkpoint.
Booyah!
Lab 4 is the most difficult level in the run to optimize because it has two extremely difficult skips. This first one skips straight to the Yzma fight from this room. Grab the checkpoint before attempting it. First get Cusco so that he stands in between this horizontal line. Then start inching to the right until the vertical tile line is in between his hoof. Enter look mode. Again, the camera's gonna oscillate back and forth like trying to draw a straight line with a mouse. So for this case, we want the wall to line up but never cross the middle of the health bar. Get out of look mode and press both camera buttons to get it centered. Now, start neutral charging, and when you get close to the edge, pause and keep charge held down. Now perform some pause buffers until the wall crosses this line on the health icon. When it does, buffer a down input for 1 frame. Again, this only works on controller. Then let go of any movement input, scroll down to continue, then just hold the jump button, which will unpause the game and buffer the input. Cusco will execute what's called a charge upwarp that just barely gives him enough height to jump into the door. If you bonk into an invisible wall like this, you aimed your camera too far left. Otherwise, any part of the setup could have gone wrong if you failed the trick, so attention to detail is key. Alright, from the beginning.
Let's have a look-see.
If you thought the last skip was complicated, let me introduce you to my good and personal friend Skip. Instead of going to the second door, head into the first one. Kill the beetle and hug this pillar. Perform the same type of upwarp in Lab 1 where instead of break then jump, break and jump on the same frame. Now most of the time you'll get a scenario like this where you're half clipped into the pillar and have to work on getting some height. Nudge down left until you gain more height. You want to be higher than halfway on this line on the wall. Next, start nudging pure left until you see Cusco do a little snap or jitter. That right there was a pretty clear visual cue, but let's rewind it back to show a less obvious example. He may gain some height, he may lose it, or stay about the same, but it should look like he did something weird. Did you see it? I'll show you again. That's what you're looking for to stop nudging left. Finally, we'll do some tiny hops to the right until we get the height we need. It really only takes like 2, but always check that you have enough. Cusco's neck should line up with the corner on the wall when you have enough and you won't be rising anymore. With our setup good, go into look mode and aim for the closest corner. Charge, then immediately jump. Keep the buttons close together so that if you charge and jump on the same frame, you'll just jump and not lose your place. Now just collect the idol and jump across to get to the door. There's an edge case where when you upwarp, you'll be extremely high and snap up to the correct height. You can just turn and jump from here. If you don't see him snap up, don't assume you got it. But you can't just go nudging left because you might not be deep in the pillar enough and nudging left will just make you fall. In that case, just jump into the pillar a little deeper so that you don't fall off. Then you can begin nudging left. All right, you got all that? You sure? All right, I'll skip from the top.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Whew, that covers the major advanced strats. For anything else that was too minor to mention here, but you still want to try out, there's a spreadsheet that documents every known strat in the game, which can be found on speedrun.com as well as the video description. Check it out, and if you ever have any problems learning a strat, you can always ask in the Discord for help. Also, I've included a separate example run that includes all the advanced strats in the video description. And because I already said my thank yous and goodbyes in the last part,
this is the end of the video.